Good morning, manifestors. It's Paula from the 411 on manifesting. Welcome back to my channel. How are you doing today, everybody? It's Monday, the start of a new week. I hope you all had a really good weekend. It is the typical, beautiful, quintessential fall day, like fall weekend. Blue sky, warm temperature, a little bit of wind, trees turning. Honestly, we are just so lucky right now with this long weather, warm weather kind of going into October. It's absolutely amazing. I had a pretty awesome weekend, to be honest. I did stay home on Saturday and just kind of got some things done, run a couple errands. And yesterday I taught two wild medicine classes back to back out at Shine in Manville. It was absolutely amazing. I only knew I think I only knew three people out of both classes, and there was 10 people in each class. So I got to meet like 17 new people yesterday, which was awesome. I absolutely love that. And there were people that drove 2.5 hours to attend the class, which, I mean, I'm so grateful for that. Absolutely so grateful that, this kind of topic that I teach about plant medicine and plant healing and kind of what's in our backyards and all that stuff, that it's just really reaching a lot of different people and everybody's so interested in it. Because one thing I do talk about plant medicine and just, growing our own food and things like that. It's really ingrained in our DNA because it's what people did since the beginning of time up until about 80 years ago. So it has, yeah, it's just made such a strong connection and a strong comeback. And I really like that so many people are interested in learning about how to heal themselves naturally. It's amazing. It is my jam. I love it. But it kind of leads me to today's vlog, which is how your food affects your mood. I I've been on a health journey for just being, a little honest here. I've been on a health journey, like a serious one, probably for a couple months. It's very slow going, and I find that a bit frustrating, but I understand because I've been a yo-yo dieter for a lot of my life, where I will jump on the newest trend to lose weight. And a lot of the time I do lose weight on it. And then as soon as I go off of it, I gain it back. And sometimes I gain back even more. So a couple months ago, I sort of decided I just wanted to dive into it a bit to see why I was attracted to all these foods, why there were certain times of the day that I was eating more, certain times of the month I was eating more. Triggers, I hate the T word, but I really wanted to get into it because I actually find it kind of fascinating. I kept a journal of when I was eating and what I was eating, a food journal, which isn't new. Like there's a lot of dietitians and different programs that kind of suggest that you do that. It was my cravings for food that I was actually more excited to keep track of. So, for instance, if I had had a bad day at work, just kind of a day where everything was piling on top of me, or, just interacting and stress and whatever, that I was stopping for fast food on the way home. There was that. So I really wanted to take notice of my cravings for sugar. And I found this kind of wild. So I live alone and I go on my phone when I eat. So I'm either, social media scrolling, or I'm reading, or I'm doing something. And so I was doing that while I was eating. And you don't really have a portion control button when you're doing that. You can have a bowl this big in front of you full of chips or popcorn or whatever. Like, I'm talking a big bowl. And if you're reading or scrolling on your phone, you're just shoveling it in. You're not even conscious of what you're eating until it's actually the bowl's empty. And I tricked myself. So I would have either a great big huge bowl of chips or popcorn. I'd be on my phone, I'd be eating or whatever. And I would stop when it was gone, regardless of how I felt, because I'm just not paying attention. My focus is either on my phone or it's eating. And I've managed to actually have zero focus on eating. It's more like a robotic movement while I'm on my phone. So anyway, what I did is I grabbed a way smaller bowl and put whatever chips or popcorn or whatever it was in there and did the same thing while I was eating. So two things happened. Number one, I ate slower. I'm not sure why, but I ate slower. And number two, I just sat there when the bowl was empty, still scrolling on my phone, not even paying attention to what was in the bowl. And I left it at that. I didn't eat more. I didn't go up to get more because I was still sitting there scrolling on my phone. So I wondered if it was maybe what I was seeing on my phone that was sort of causing this like robotic type of eating. And a couple things happened when I started to pay attention to this. I have removed myself from most of the negative, Facebook sites out there. Like, honestly, I have. I don't have the time for them. So I'm still on a couple groups, not to do with like, bullying groups or anything like that. But I'm on like a planter tincture page or something like that, salve tincture page or something. And there's bullying on that page quite a bit. So I've recently left that page too. And it's unfortunate because I really did like it. But there is a lot of bullying on that page too. So when I was on my phone looking at these social media groups where people were getting harassed or bullied for asking questions or, made to feel stupid or anything like that, I was eating. I was emotional eating. I was anger eating. I was like reading these comments and I'm shoving food in my mouth and like, there was that. When a couple people had reached out to me from my past one time on social media, and I didn't handle that very well. So that was kind of an emotional trigger. So there was that happened. Full moon is a trigger of eating for me. So, and I mean, it could be a couple reasons, just because full moon sort of makes me a bit emotional sometimes. I do get a little bit wound up sometimes and a little bit in my head, I think. So, and I know that's just not me. Like, I mean, that's not just me. Like, a lot of people get affected by the full moon. So I think that was really sort of interesting to point out. So every time I had a craving for any type of food, I actually wrote it down in a journal. And what was sort of going on at that time? Like, was it something I saw on TV? Was it something I saw on social media? Had I had a conversation with somebody, previous to having a sugar craving or whatever it was? So, and it was yes to all of those questions. A big yes. I really appreciate that I did this for myself. I mean, it wasn't easy either, because you sort of have to admit, to your cravings with food, and it's really hard to keep that balance kind of going. But the big one for me was just noticing those times of either the month or the day, or that these cravings were coming up. So I did read a study, because you know me, I'm a reader. I read a study that up until, this was a study in the States, okay, but in the early 1970s is when the American government started to keep track of what consumers were purchasing in the store. And in 1973, there was a 37% hike in obesity in 1 year, where obesity, especially with children, until they had started tracking it anyway in the 60s, had stayed very consistent. So it means there weren't any spikes and there weren't any drops. But a 37% increase in obesity in 1973 due to the fact that they introduced ultra-processed foods. And ultra-processed foods are foods that are very soft. So like pastas, ravioli, canned ravioli, things like that. Things that are easy, really easy to eat. They increased the color on them. They made them brighter. They made the packaging different. they marketed them as family togetherness. Spend more time with your family. Open a can of ravioli instead of slaving over a hot stove for 3 hours making it from scratch, that kind of thing, right? So it's like all about convenience and everything. But that's when they introduced the ultra processed food. And I buy a lot of ultra processed food just because I tell myself that I just don't have the time to cook. So I'm making better choices with that now, but honestly, the mood that I am in when I make good choices with my eating, when I eat a lot of fruit and vegetables, when I drink a lot of water, when I, take a supplement regularly, anything, kind of like that, to drink herbal teas instead of coffee, like making kind of all these conscious choices, my mood is through the roof. I feel unstoppable. Whereas, if I eat a bag of cheesies the night before and a chocolate bar, I feel like I have a hangover the next day. It's really hard to get motivated. It's really hard, kind of to do anything. So, I mean, honestly, what do we do? Like, what do we do to not have these things? Well, number one, we don't beat ourselves up over it. We don't, food shame ourselves, anything like that. And it's really hard to not do that. At least it is for me. So I'm very aware now that if I slip up and have a chocolate bar, it's because that's what I've been doing for 50 years. And my body is not used to just, and my brain especially, is not used to just completely shutting off all bad foods for myself. Sometimes my diet will be an all day thing. Like everything I eat is just really bad. I'm not really doing that anymore, but if I know that I'm kind of headed down that road, I will allow myself, one kind of bad meal that day and really try not to repeat that process tomorrow. So I try to keep a lot of healthy foods in my house. It wasn't easy when I was a mom, when my kids were at home, because then my kids don't get anything. I mean, there was always healthy food there, but we always had snacks and stuff too. I don't keep any of that in my house anymore. Like I just don't. So once I get home, I've got the food in my house to eat and that's it. So that's sort of one way that I've done it. But I mean, that could just be laziness too, because once I get home, I don't want to go anywhere. So I just, I'm stuck with what I have and that's fine. But yeah, just sort of writing down how your food affects your mood and sort of, yeah, what kind of day is it? What kind of day did you have today? Did you have a run-in with somebody? Did you read something negative on social media that maybe might have upset you or, yeah, just caused, some kind of spike in that? So I just found that really interesting and I wanted to talk about it because I think a lot of us sort of go through that. We are busy women and busy men. So we are, we just don't have the time to sit down and cook these meals for ourselves, which we really should. I mean, how long does it take to make a salad and boil an egg or whatever you choose to eat? It really doesn't take that long. But I think we just get very used to the convenience of processed food and because we are so busy. So we have to take some time for ourselves and do some good meal prep. And if anybody is doing any kind of, easy meal prep or can give me some tips, I would love, love, love to hear about it in the comments. Or, if you're on my page on Witchy Wares, you can message me because I think getting other people's kind of opinions about things and what they're doing that works for them is always something that I want to look at because it could be something I haven't done before. So I'm really interested in that. But that is the vlog for today, everybody. Sorry, it ran on a little bit long there. I hope you have an absolutely amazing, amazing Monday. I hope you have a great week. If nobody tells you this week, I love you. And please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps me to come back every week and bring you more content. And please comment below if you have any tips for me. Thank you. Have an amazing day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.